It's only mirrored for me, I think.
Yeah,
For you-
just don't mirror. Yeah, I usually don't mirror.
For you, it may not be.
If you mirror this, if I mirror, you see the Spice Adventist University, that thing will change, and I'll show you. See, can you see that?
For you, it is correct. I can see it as Spicer Adventist University.
Now is it correct? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't have to mirror it. Can you see that?
For you, it is correct. I can see it as Spicer Adventist University.
Now is it correct? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't have to mirror it. Brother Suri. Can you see that?
For you, it is correct. I can see it as Spicer Adventist University.
Now is it correct? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't have to mirror it. Brother Suri. Can you see that?
For you, it is correct. I can see it as Spicer Adventist University.
Now is it correct? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't have to mirror it. Brother Suri.
Yes, sir. Just shall we begin, sir? Hello.
Yes, sir. Let's start, sir.
Okay, sir.
Do you feel the world is broken? Do you feel the shadows deepen? But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through? Do you wish that you could see it all made new?
Is all creation groaning? Is a new creation coming? Is the glory of the Lord to be the light within our midst? Is it good that we remind ourselves of this?
Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave.
We have a few people coming in, so let's just wait for a while.
Have you ever wondered how to go about your research? Have you thought that there is no possibility of moving further from a point? Are you experiencing a lack of communication with an advisor or research colleague? How about time management in doing research? How to expose yourself to an international research community? At Spice Adventist University, we answer your queries in the Office of Research and Innovation. The Research Office is prompt in assisting, evaluating, encouraging, and accelerating impact from thought process to your research papers. The Office of Research and Innovation assists all the divisions at Spice Adventist University, promoting quality research papers that undergoes rigorous reviews following SAU standard to produce research papers worth publishing. A brand new scholarly journal is in the process of being published for both national and international researchers to contribute to research writing and publishing.
I made several visits to research department of Spicer Adventist University. The kind of support I got is overwhelming. I received careful attention to my thoughts and shown the willingness to extend help in every possible way. I was little hesitant at first, but the department received me well and encouraged me to pursue my ideas. As I was received well, it has definitely boosted my approach to research writing and contribution to the institution.
The doubts that I had about how to begin research and proceed through it have been cleared. I was received well, and my thoughts were discussed and structured in order to form a good research topic. The research department helped show me how to find credible sources online relating to my topic, and I thank the research personnel for taking extra time to help me with my doubts and queries. It was very helpful and beneficial for me.
The office assists research work among students and the teachers who need assistance on how to go about their research. The office facilitates scholarly engagement in doing research writing, publishing, and presentations.
It was helpful to have someone I could ask all the doubts I had about everything from big to small. I received guidance that helped to shape my thought process and to express it correctly. Also, I received resources in the form of books and references. And lastly, I did not have to feel afraid or hesitant in any way that my questions may sound silly, and I could talk in an open and free manner.
The development of the community and the nation depends on its continuing education and research progress in all the study disciplines. Hence, our research should attempt international comparison in terms of standard and quality. The Research and Innovation Office strives to develop innovative ideas that can incorporate with the educational policies and institutional structure, facilitating a quality research culture. Welcome to be a part of us. All are welcome to communicate with us, and we are here to assist you in your endeavor to an academic journey.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brother Surendra. Good morning and a very happy Sunday to each one of you. I hope the Lord is keeping you all safe. And I know we are in a troublesome time, but I know we will overcome this very soon. Thank you for joining us once again for another important webinar from the Office of Research and Innovation. All those who are here, we have teachers, we have students, we have teachers from Spicer High School. We have people joining us on YouTube today. So I would like to welcome you all for joining us on this very important webinar. Before that, I would like to also thank Dr. Jessin Israel for providing us the platform to have our webinars every alternate Sundays. Thank you so much, Dr. Jessin. Thank you, Surendra, for helping us out every time in hosting. Thank you, Adaya, for the posters that you work on every time when we ask you. So thank you so much for everything. And once again, I want to thank you all for joining us. If this room gets filled up, you can also join, or you can ask your friends to join on YouTube. There is a form you will find in the description of the YouTube channel where we are hosting it. Kindly fill those forms in order to receive your certificates. Those who are on Zoom right now, you do not have to fill that form. So share around and make sure everybody receives it. And once again, I want to thank you all, and on behalf of the Office of Research and Innovation, welcome to be a part of this important webinar. At this time, I would like to thank Mr. Prem Gompa for accepting this. And we have been planning on doing this for a long time. I think it's about like 2 or 2.5 months that we have expressed to each other that we want to do something on file management. Yes. So he's here now, but I will introduce him soon. But before that, I would like to ask. Let me see. Yes, let me ask Dr. Christopher Jefferson. Yeah, Dr. Christopher Jefferson, if you can offer the prayer for us. Okay. If anyone else can offer a prayer for us. Brother Anish, can you offer the prayer, please? You're muted, sir.
Okay, let's pray. Our most gracious and loving Father in heaven, we pause at your feet this morning at the beginning of another week that you have so graciously granted to us. What a privilege, O Lord, for us to begin another week, refreshing our thoughts and our ideas on organizing life, organizing our files. And as this webinar is going to be presented, I lift up the presenter into your hands and pray that may everything go well, may we be blessed, and may we learn to organize not only digital files but also our spiritual life, that when you look into our lives, we will be found organized in the way you want us to be, O Father. Thank you for hearing our prayer. Bless each and every participant, and may we be blessed to be blessing to others. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you, sir. Before I begin, I want to express this to you. Managing files, may it be physical or digital, is a task, is something that needs an organized mindset. For me personally, I have to really write down notes, and only then I can manage my files, or may it be digital, or even if I want to organize it in a physical file, I have to keep it meticulously organized and keep a note for that. So filing is a challenge, and therefore we have Mr. Prem Gompa with us to help us to understand how to organize digital files and maybe physical files also. I'm not sure, but definitely he will help us in understanding how to organize data. But before that, let me have a brief introduction before you. I know Mr. Prem from the time I have entered Spicer. I have seen him here. He began his education at Spicer High School as a nursery student. And because his parents were mission workers, he has traveled around the country. He has traveled around the country with his parents and lived in different parts of the country. Later on, he came to Spicer, and studied here again, and he finished his MBA. Later on, he went on and worked in Thailand for 7 years in an international school. He returned back to Spicer 4 years ago, and now he's also pursuing his doctoral studies. He's blessed with a wife and 2 children. And we all know Prem is very passionate about technology. In fact, he loves to do that, though he's not expert in that, but he's always ready to learn and help, and he's always ready to answer questions if there is any. And thank you so much, Sir Prem, for helping us in our online teaching learning experiences, along with Mr. Elvinson and other team that you have. We are so thankful that you have been with us so far, and I hope that in future also we'll get more of your help for each one of us. And now at this time, I would like to ask you to take over and take the presentation on.
A very good morning to all of you who are watching this webinar on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Santosh, for the introduction, and thank you, Mr. Anish, for the prayer. I'm so nervous. Last night onwards, I was actually thinking, how would I manage this? Because up until now, it was only close friends or faculty members within Spicer that I would interact with. But now I heard that even the school is joining us, and there are others from around the globe who have actually asked me how to join, and so my nervousness has increased. And to add to that, I'm not so comfortable with Zoom. I'm a Google user, but I will try my best. I'm going to try my best by first beginning to share my screen here. Okay, I hope you can see something there. I will open up my PowerPoint and see if that'll come up. If you're not able to hear me or if you're not able to see any visuals, please let me know. If I'm going too fast also, please let me know. And we can work something out. Okay. When Mr. Santosh asked me about how to share or how to save our files, I thought that this is something that we all would know. This is something that is common. But when he and me had this conversation of bringing it into the tech world and making it viable for students to understand, and an age group that wouldn't have actually done digital filing to understand how these files are saved, I thought this would be an appropriate topic to deal with, because not everyone is tech savvy. We all had to learn or begin learning somewhere. Okay. And so he appropriately chose to title it as Organize Your Life, Starting with Your Files. And I believe that everything in life is very important. And as we go through life, we will want to go back and try to find out what files we have saved. Okay. If you are on social media, you will understand very well that Facebook puts out these memories out to us that we can see that that happened a couple years ago, maybe 2 years, 5 years, 7 years ago, and say your memory from so and so day. Okay. And that kind of asks for that question of, do I still have that file? Where is it? Can I go through and look at those files and cherish those moments? Okay. And so when I was here at Spicer, I picked up on a hobby of taking pictures. Okay. Spicer gave us these opportunities to learn and get mentored again from many people. And I remember very well, Dr. Johnson Chopala was the first one who gave me a digital camera to play around with, a DSLR. Okay. And a few friends of mine were around who had cameras. And so we would take these pictures and we wouldn't know what to do with the files that came out of these pictures, because we took the pictures, we would go print them out, and then what? You know? So then that is when I started thinking of, yes, I need to get a place to be able to store these pictures, because if not today, I might need them somewhere down the line. Okay. And fortunately in 2006, I was part of the Aureodoxa team, and we had to start generating these digital copies of images that we would compile and keep them together. And we would have to go back and forth between these files to find out if we have the relevant files. And so keeping this in mind, I would bring your attention to the topic at hand and break it down into these 3 sections. Okay. I will start with introducing what is file management and is it really important for us? How do we organize these files? We will look at alphabetically and chronologically, and the tools for organizing our files. And I will take you through number 1, the desktop computer, how we organize on a desktop computer. The second one is going to be mobile devices, and the third one is cloud storages. Okay. Okay. So if you look at the definition of file management, it says the work of organizing and arranging files in a computer. It's very simple. Okay. We have all organized our day-to-day activities or something or the other around us. We go home and then we keep our keys, for example. The moment we reach home, we keep our keys in an appropriate place. We keep our phones in an appropriate place. We keep our shoes in an appropriate place. And then we go back to look for those things in those places. When I was younger, okay, I would ask my mom, Mom, I kept this thing somewhere. Can you help me finding it? And all she would say is, where did you keep it? Recollect where you kept it. Okay. And if I didn't remember where I kept it, I would take ages to find it. So I started getting into that habit of, if I keep something somewhere, that has to be there all the time. That was the place for that thing. And so it would be easy for me to, okay, I always keep my phone on the table, and so I need to go to the table to look for my phone. Okay. And so here we're looking at that definition of file management that says the work of organizing and arranging files in a computer. Very simple. Okay, so now we will see the difference between traditional and modern file management. We all come from a setup where we used to carry a folder with papers inside that folder. We're all used to that kind of a setup. It's only in the recent couple decades that filing has begun on computers for us especially. And there are so many of us that wouldn't have even thought of filing on a desktop. We would still take our certificates, put it in that folder and keep it there. I'm still in that traditional mindset. All of my letters go into folders. You know, every document goes into folders. Okay, and so we are used to this filing cabinet in an office setup that is equated to a hard disk in a digital world. Okay, the filing cabinet is equated to the hard disk in a digital world. Okay, and so in the filing cabinet you have these files laid out, and in each file you have these folders laid out, and each folder has these files, may it be documents, pictures, certificates, could be any kind of files that are laid out in a traditional filing cabinet folder. The same way we have this hard disk. This hard disk comes in different forms actually. It could be a hard disk, it could be a thumb drive, it could be an internal hard disk that is not visible like this hard disk that is viewed here. Okay, and so the hard disk could be a cloud storage, which we will get to in a while. Okay, so the digital part of it I'm going to relate to as the hard disk. Okay, moving on, the difference between folders and files. If you look at this image here, this is a folder. This image will bring back memories of a tangible or a physical folder. A physical folder also looks like that. It comes as an open and close folder. You can keep files inside that folder. In the digital world, the files could be your Word documents, your PowerPoint presentations, Excel sheets, pictures, could be text documents, or so many other different types of files. The most common though are these three file types that we use. If you're typing a letter, we use documents. If you're typing a financial report, we use Excel sheets. If you're trying to make a PPT or a PowerPoint presentation, you're in marketing or in sales, you want to give a report, you're going to use a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, and so this is the basic difference between folders and files. Okay, why is filing important? It brings everything into one single place. You're going to centralize your information. Okay, with filing, you're going to reduce reworking on files. For example, you're typing out a letter that needs to be given to two different people. You don't need to start from scratch. You can use that same document, change the name, change a little information in between, and you can save that as a second file. And I will go into how you save your documents in a little while. Time saver. Why? Once you organize your files, You know exactly where to go and know exactly where to get your files from. You do not need to worry about looking into multiple places to find your files, especially if you have external hard disks or if you have thumb drives in the numbers. Like if you have 4 external hard disks or 4 thumb drives, you will start looking for information in different places. But if you're organized, say you have a hard disk for a certain type of files, maybe video files or audio files or documents, or a thumb drive for this type of document, you will just pick up that device and you will be able to find your files. And then maintaining versions, which I will talk about again in a little while. Okay. Now, how do we organize our files? As I said, we can organize our files in 2 ways. Number one, it is organizing in the alphabetical order, and the second one is in chronological order. We're all used to doing filing in the alphabetical order, okay? Which is not wrong, but which is not completely right either. Because unless you mastered it, if you have mastered that and that is your way of doing it, and you know for sure that it'll work for you no matter what, then that's fine. But I will give you a gist of how to do it the chronological way, and I'm sure today onwards this will change your mindset and you will say, yes, I want to do it this way because this will actually help me go the right way. Okay, so we'll look at chronological. Okay, and if you look at chronologically, you will break it down into these 3 sections. The first one is according to the year. Okay, the second one is according to the month, and the third one is according to the date of filing. Okay, and so I will show you how I'm going to label it. Okay, so the format is you basically use the entire date. Please do not use 95 or 96 or 00 or 11 or 21. No, you start with 1995 or 1996 or 2000, 2011, 2021. You use the entire year. Okay, you use the entire year format. Then you have it the month. Okay, do not use 1, 2, 3, 4. Please use 01, 02, 03, and I'll explain why. When you use 01, it places it right at the top because 0 brings the file right at the top. 01, the next number is 02. But if you have it as 1 and 2 and 3, what happens is after 1, you will be taken to 10 and then 11 and then 12. And then you will come to 2 because 2 will take it after 12. Your first digit is that 1. Okay. And so that's the format. The same thing goes with the month, the days. 01, 02, 03, 11, 14, 23, 24, 27, 31, depending on the date that you're using. Okay. Now we're looking at how this will help you. Okay. Format is going to be as year. You open up a folder and name that as the year of that folder. Then you're going to open up that folder and add the month inside the year folder. And I'm going to give you a demo of that once we get onto the desktop version of looking at things. Okay, and then you will have the month and then the date format within. Okay, when you look at alphabetically arranging your files, you can arrange these on a daily basis or a monthly basis, depending on how much work you're going to work with. Now, I'm a photographer by hobby. Okay, I love to take a lot of photos. And so when I look at my files, there are a lot of files that come out of the camera that have the same file name. Now, if I take out those files and I put them into just one folder, what's going to happen is that folder is going to tell me that there are multiple files that are having the same file names. And so it will be when we start filing. There will be a couple of files that might have or might need to have the same file name. When we put them under different folders, our filing becomes a little more easier. Okay, and you might have had this experience of naming your file with a file name. For example, if you're working in the research office, you might say, I'm going to create a file and name this as Prem Sagar Gompa because I'm sending an invitation to Prem and asking him to come and present a webinar. But you might also have another file with the same file name, right? So now you have this file name, Prem Sagar Gompa, and then you wanted to make certain changes to it, but you want to keep the original file intact. You do not want to dispose of that original file. And so what we commonly do is we say Prem Sagar Gompa and we put final next to it, thinking that the second version is going to be the final version. But then there will be certain changes that might occur on that file. And then you might say, okay, this is going to be the final. So I'll just put two finals on it. Okay. This is something that most of us have come across. We go about doing this on a regular basis where we have actually made these mistakes. Okay. And that list continues to go on. We say final, 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 really final, really, really final. And then it just goes on. This is the worst mistake we could make. Now we have all of these and we do not know what is happening across all of these files. Okay. What I would suggest is we go on to make it into file name, version 1, and the date, if you're following the alphabetical order of your filing. Okay. And so what happens is if you make changes to that, you have a version 2 and you have a date. So you basically know by version that this is the second version, and that date also gives credibility to that version and says, okay, this date is prior to the next file. And so the second file could be your latest file, which you would be using. You might be thinking, what's the difference between that and the previous one? Okay, well, this doesn't give a real professional look to your filing system, but this will definitely give you a professional look to your filing system. Okay, and we're going to go to the last slide that I have, and right after that we'll get into the digital filing and show you exactly how filing looks like. Okay, so here we are looking at three types of, or three places we would organize our files. One is on the desktop, the second is on a mobile phone, and the third one is on the cloud. Okay, and all of these three are going to be related to file management only. Okay, the desktop I'm going to look at is only going to be a Windows desktop, because I think 80 to 85% of all of us would be using a desktop. Very few will be using a Mac. Mobile would be on an Android device, because that's what I use. And anyways, it's going to be similar. And the third one is cloud. And if you're looking at the cloud platform, I'm going to look at Google Drive, or Google One as it's renamed now. Okay, so let me just take a couple of seconds to organize my desktop so that I would be able to share this Windows desktop with you. Okay. Okay, sorry for the quality. I don't want to leave this computer and go to a Windows desktop, and therefore I've brought that remotely in. If you look at the desktop, you will understand that this is how most of our Windows desktops look like. You have
Mr. Prem, you are muted.
okay. Sorry, I'm back now. I hope you are able to hear me now. Okay, So this is, let me start again from the desktop. You would see a Windows desktop in this way. You have a few files lying around, you know, and a couple of things that will not change is this computer that is very common. You'll have a network folder there and a recycle bin for sure. Most of us will have these on our desktop. But if you did not have this, you could go to your Windows tab at the corner, and then you would be able to search for any of these things, okay? Okay, I think I'll just go directly into this. Now, when we're looking at filing, we have to get into this PC. Okay, this is the place where we will find all of our hard disks kept. Okay, the most common place for us to save our files is on the C drive, which I would say is not the best place to keep your files, because in an event of your computer having any problems, maybe it's crashed, or maybe there's a virus on it or something, the first drive that is going to be infected is going to be the C drive. Okay, but if you look at the way this quick access has been kept, you have these document folders, picture folders, download folders. They are all on the C drive. They are all on C drive. So what you could do is you can create multiple drives like this D drive, E drive, and F drive. They are all part of this computer's hard disk, but we have created partitions that could be named here. Okay, so we have got these three drives, and we will keep files into these drive partitions. For example, the downloads that I make go into this partition. Okay, if I have softwares, they go into this partition, you know. And if I get into the last thing, that is certain photography or videography related folders that are related on the last partition. So you could start filing right from the drive level. Okay. Now there is another thing that you would come across apart from these drives. I will connect an external hard disk. Okay, an external hard disk as such into the Windows computer, and you will see how it's going to look once we connect this into the hard disk. Okay, if you notice here, C, D, E, and F are the four files, four drive partitions that are present here. We will be able to see the external hard disk as a second or the fifth extension here. Once you open it, you will notice that I have got all of these. I have also used a lot of alphabetical or filing system, but then I would take you into this particular folder that is called iFile, and I would show you how I do my filing, especially for photographs. Okay, I have 2019, I have 2020. If you come to me and say, do you have photographs from last year's so-and-so event? I will have to only ask you for the date of that event, because once I get into 2019, I know that my files are organized here. Okay, if you remember, I've told you that I will show you how I'm going to do it. Okay, now we have 2019 as our base folder. In that folder, we have got this 2019 0103. This means that in 2019, January 3rd, this is the folder. Once I open that, all of my folders are listed down, or all of my files are listed down here. So even if I get another file with the same file number, it wouldn't matter to me because they're all in separate folders. If you look at the top here, it's 2019, then 2019 0103. Okay, if you look at the way they are organized, they are going to be January 1st, then you come up to February, then you have March, April, May, June, July, August, and so on and so forth. Okay, I do not need to get into too many details on that. Okay, so this is basically what I would suggest for a filing system. Okay, I'm not saying this is the best filing system or this is the only type of filing system, but this will help us in finding out our information faster, because I think we remember events and dates pretty much all the time. We would say, okay, when was I need cultural day pictures from a couple years ago. When was Cultural Day held a couple years ago? We would remember, okay, October 2 would be the actual day of the event. And so we need to just go back to a couple years and then see if I have, okay, let me see. Yeah, I don't have it here, but was it on October 2? Yeah, I don't see that folder, so that means I wouldn't have had, either I didn't click pictures on that day, or I don't have pictures for that day with me. Okay, so I hope you understand the gist of this filing system, where you're filing according to year, month, and then the date. Okay, let's go on to looking at a mobile device. Okay, I'm going to take you into a mobile device and show you how filing is done on a mobile device. Oops, sorry. Okay, I hope that's the one. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to connect my remote device so that you'll be able to see this on the desktop. Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, so all of us use a mobile phone. Okay, this is your home screen, and on your home screen you wouldn't find this folder, but you need to look for a folder called File Manager. It's the third folder right on the top on my device. Your device might not have it on the same place. On my device is the third folder there, or if I scroll up, I will see a list of files, and all I have to do is look for the letter F. I have the File Manager. I can open it up. Now your files are on your mobile device at different places. Mobile devices have two places where you could roughly find your files. One is the internal memory, and the second one is on your external memory within your files. Okay, and so you have a time, or a recent look at your folders, but then I will look at the second icon right on the top that says folder. Okay, you have this storage device, that's your internal, and you have the SD card as external. Okay, once I click on this now this is not going to be standard for everyone. Let me be honest with you. Every device will have a little variation to how you will find your filing, but you will have to be able to find your internal and external if you have an external SD card plugged into your device. If you do not have an SD card plugged into, or a micro SD card plugged into your device, you wouldn't see the SD card option, but you will see the internal storage option. Now in your internal storage, you will see different type of folders. Now the most common thing that we look for on a phone are for our pictures and videos, which we would actually be able to find from this thing called as a gallery. you'll be able to see all your, even your WhatsApp message, pictures are going to be out there. Okay, but if you want to actually look at the documents or the files that are within folders on your device, then you would have to go to File Manager, and then you would be able to see all of these folders that are there. Okay, so the most common ones you will see is download, because we download a lot of documents, or maybe PDF files, or pictures or videos, and all of those. Then the next popular folder that I would talk about is DCIM. This is where you would actually see all of your pictures, DCIM, and then you go to your camera, and then you will see all of your pictures that you have taken in the recent past would be out here. Okay, so this is just I'm not going to go into detail of what is where, but then this is just going to be a beginning to the learning experience of file management. The third thing that I'm going to do with you today is take you through the cloud storage. Okay, cloud storage, and by cloud storage I mean any cloud platform. They are not different in a major way between each other. They all follow the same kind of format. And so on mine, I have Google Drive on my device. Okay, and so if you look at this, okay, I'm going to see, right, I'm in the right place. Okay, I wanted to be on this. Now, if you look at this, I have put my question papers as 220 question papers. So I know these question papers are going to be, this folder is related to 2020, and my question papers are going to be there. Okay, I have other folders there, but then I will give you an overlook of this. Okay, I hope someone is going to be able to do that for me. Okay, if you look at the Google Drive on your device, you have something called as My Drive. You've got shared drives and computers. Okay, I'll run you through all of this, and then we'll look at shared at the bottom. Okay, so the top has My Drive. That is the drive that belongs to you. All of the information that you have, the information that you are storing on this drive is there. Okay, and so all of these information are here. Okay, I want to show you one thing in particular here. Okay, so this is a drive that I've used for multiple years from the previous workplace that I had. Yes, now if I go to the academic year, I have attendance for that year, course outline, exam papers, grade sheet, lesson plans. Everything is organized for that year. These are repetitive in nature. That means that every year I will have to make my lesson plans. Every year I would have student projects. Every year I will have to take attendance. And therefore, these are repetitive. Therefore, you'll see the top has 2010, 2011, 2010, 2011, right? So if I go back and I look at 2011, 12, I will still have a lot of these folders that are relevant, lesson plans, exam papers, RRCA, okay, all of these things that are relevant for that place, okay. Then 2012 and 13, again, you will see exam papers, grade sheets, lesson plans, all of these things. What I mean to say is these are the folders that I have created. I own these, and no one else has access to these unless I give them access to that. Okay. Going to the next one, we see shared drives. Okay. Shared drives are common among institutions or organizations. With Spicer, we have this this facility. You will not have this on a personal Google Drive, but you will have this on an organizational or institutional Google Drive. And so you have online data. I mean, these are the drives or shared drives that I have created, teaching, learning during COVID-19 that I have created and I have shared with others that we can collaborate on. And then the third one is computers. So if I have connected any of my computers to this account, that computer is going to be visible here. I'm going to see the folders that I've added to my drive from that particular computer. Okay, the most important thing here though is the bottom part. If you look at the files section at the bottom, yes, you have something called as shared. This shared means someone has shared these files or folders with you, or in this case with me. Okay, so I have n number of files that have been shared with me, and I can open these from my device, even though they are actually originally on someone else's device. They are shared with me. Okay, so for example, this is web conference that is shared with me. I think this has been shared by Mr. Santosh. Okay, we were working on a Google form, and so this is the form that he shared with me. It is owned by him, but he shared with me, and therefore I have access to this form. Okay, so I hope you understand. If at all someone says I've shared a folder with you, you need to go onto the shared part of that folder. If it is your device, files, you go into your file section. Now you see a plus mark on the right bottom corner of it. By clicking on that, you will see that there are different options that you have. You can either create a folder, you can upload a folder or upload a file, you can scan a file, you can create a new Google Doc or a Google Sheet or Google Slide. Okay, and all of this you will be creating by going into the relevant folder. Please do not create a file or a folder in the home page, right? Just out of the box, do not create a folder or a file here unless it is necessary. Okay, for example, if I have to add a question paper, I get into my question paper folder, and there I will press the plus sign, and now I can choose if I'm going to add a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, or a Google Slide into that. You have more options if you go into a desktop version of the Google Drive. Okay, so keeping this in mind, I would say I have taken care of most of the filing requirements that you need to go through if you're looking at a desktop, or if you're looking at a mobile device, or if you're looking at a cloud device. And to wind up, I would just want to leave you with just one thought. Let me go back to that slide so that I can explain this to you. I just want to leave you with this concluding slide that is going to be the format. Okay, please try to follow the format of year, month, and date. Okay, with that in place, what would happen is it would give you the opportunity to search very easily into your folders and look at relevant files in those folders. I have not gone very deep into file management, because file management is a vast topic. This is basically the introduction, and for us to begin with, I think this is the right place to start, and this will give us an understanding of what we need to do and how we need to do our file formatting. With that said, I'm going to wind up and give back the time to Mr. Santosh. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Sir Prem. I'm sure that this is not enough for all of us. We want more, so maybe in future, definitely we would want your expertise again in helping us out in understanding more and deeper about this same subject.
Sure, Mr. Santosh. Now, if you look at that picture, someone asked me the other day why I was not putting a more realistic modern day picture. Well, I wanted to put that picture because I wanted to make sure you understand that I was able to send you that picture within like 5 minutes or less of you asking me for that picture.
Yeah.
Because I had that on my file. I remember an incident that, I took this picture on a certain date. So I went back into that folder. I looked up that file and I was able to share that using Google Photos, because that is where I organize my file. And if I have to start looking at explaining Google Photos, I think that's another session on its own, where, you could look at file management there. So I purposely kept that picture there so that I could bring it up and say that, yes, I have been able to pull it back from my archive or from my filing system. And yes, I do not have the hair that I had in that picture, but I'm happy with what God has blessed me with today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we have I think one or two questions. Maybe
Sure.
I'll start with one. And this comes from one of our professor. And the question is, the question is how we reduce the size of photos without changing in their pixels or the quality, perhaps. How do we, reduce the size and keep the quality as well?
Yeah, so pictures, this is again not actually in file management, but another session can be taken, but I'll just give you a gist of it. There are softwares that will help you in compressing that file so that you keep kind of almost original quality. Okay, but here is a tip that I'll give you, especially with our students that need to upload their ID picture for admissions, for example. Not everyone has access to compressing softwares. Not everyone has access to Photoshop, for example, so that they could compress and save the file as a smaller file size. But most people ask for 1 MB or less to upload our pictures, right? That's the file size that they ask. So here is what I do. If I need to upload a picture to an application, I send it on WhatsApp to a friend of mine, or I send it to my wife and I ask her to send it back. That already compresses it and makes it small, but it doesn't keep the same resolution. It brings that resolution down. For application forms and for uploading to these small places, we can still use that because it's not going to be really bad. But if you are going to compress it so that you can print it later, you need to have a compression software that sometimes costs money. You'll have to pay for it. And then they'll be able to compress it and put it into a file format that could be used, because they need to keep the bit rate up and yet keep the file size down.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Another question that we have here is, how do we add multiple personal computers to the Google Drive, and will it be automatically updated?
As of now, I'll be honest with you, I've only added one computer at a time. I've never added multiple computers. And so I don't think I will be able to answer that right now. But if need be, I can research and I can give you that information. Maybe you can send it over to the person, whoever is asking you that question.
Thank you, sir. I have this question. Now we keep talking about the clouding, where we can keep our files. As of now, recently we had a talk, and then you said that even Google is trying to reduce down the unlimited to a limited size. That means that we won't be able to keep larger files or a lot of data, may be our personal or institutional drive we have. So in that case, most of us, including me, will have to move to a personal clouding system. Now, I do have my own clouding thing, but then just for the sake of everyone who is present here, which one do you prefer? Google Drive, OneDrive, or iCloud?
Okay. In the Indian context, the cheapest service provider for cloud is Google Drive. If you look at quantity versus price, okay? If you're looking at just pricing and you don't want to look at a major uphaul with your space, then there are other options available. Okay, like for example, if you're looking at the iCloud is cheaper than Google Drive, but it gives you 50 GB. Okay, but for a little more, you can get 100 GB. That is double the space from Google Drive, but you will add a few cents to the payment. Okay, for example, if you're paying $1 for 50 GB, you might have to pay $2 for 100 GB. But with Google Drive, you'll be paying $1.65. Yes. Now, if you go to OneDrive, the cost of OneDrive starts, I think, at $2 a month. Okay. So if you're keeping the cost versus price, then Google Drive is what I would suggest. But if you have a Mac and you want to start with 50 GB and then upgrade later on, that's fine with you. But always keep in mind, Google Drive was free. Okay. Mm-hmm. I recently transferred 500 GB from my old email address to my present email address because I wanted to keep all of my data centralized or in one place. And so I moved everything. But then Google Drive always had something called as 1 ET or 1 etatera. Okay, that was like 1 million terabyte, and which they removed and said it was unlimited. But today, because of, I wouldn't say it's because of pandemic, but then because of the usage, the massive usage that has happened. One of the reasons could be the pandemic. With what has happened, Google Drive has moved their strategy of giving you, yes, a 15 GB limit on a personal account. And then they have said, okay, with the institutional account, you could have a certain amount, maybe 1 terabyte or, a certain amount or 5 terabyte or, whatever. You pay for that and that is shared among everyone. So then whoever uses a lot, like for me, I've already filled up maybe about 700 or 800 GB up there. And if they give us 1 terabyte, I think I have to remove all of that data so that others would be able to use it. Or else, I'm limiting the usage for others. Okay, so it's a shared thing. But if you're looking at personal storage, you will have to calculate downtime. Is Google fast enough for me? Are they reliable enough for me? Are they cost efficient today? Will they be cost efficient tomorrow? Is that space enough for me? Because we might think 100 GB is a lot, but if you are like me collecting data, I've just connected a 4 terabyte hard disk to this computer. Okay, I've got 1 terabyte left in 2 years. In 2 years, I've filled up about 3 terabyte of mostly photos and videos, mostly. Okay, and so it depends again on these other parameters that you would choose which type of storage to pick for your storage.
Thank you, sir. With this, I have a question also that, since now we are into the online teaching, and most of us are recording our lectures, and those lectures are piled up in the Google Drive. And then from there, we share it to the students and all that. There's a question coming up here, and it says, a certain classroom lecture recording has been moved to the course folder. However, there is a meet recording folder. If I delete this meet recording folder, will it affect the course folder where I have moved the recordings? Now, this is the challenge of the teachers who can see the files piling up in the Google Drive. Okay,
I will answer this I will try to answer it in 2 ways. The first one is directly answering this question. If you have moved that file, and not put a shortcut. If it's like you've taken that file and put it into a different folder and you delete the first folder, that file is existing in your second folder. So you don't need to worry. It's like taking a photocopy of a paper and putting it as a copy into a physical folder. You have two copies. Even if you lose the first copy, you have a copy of in the second folder. So that first can be moved up. The second thing is, now necessity is the mother of invention. Yes, necessity is the mother of invention. I see you smile, Mr. Santosh.
Yeah.
Okay, till date, I've never paid for file storage, external or cloud storage, I would say. Okay, I used to be a very avid user of Flickr. Okay, I wouldn't know if you would remember this, but Flickr was a platform created by Yahoo years ago that said 1 terabyte would be given to every user on Flickr forever. Okay, but I think 3 years ago, Flickr came down and said, we're sorry, we cannot manage it anymore. And so if you have data, we're going to close it. 2018, I think they did that. And from 2018 onwards, I'm not able to save any folders into or any pictures into my Flickr account. They had a very nice app on your phone. You could just sync it. So every picture you took here would get synced into that. Fortunately, Google Photos came up, and so you could upload your photos there. So even though you have 15 GB as personal space, your photos were uploaded to Google Photos. Now coming back to this very relevant question, when you are uploading your data or your videos to your record Meet folder, you can always download it. Yes, it will take you a little time, or you could move it from there into your YouTube account. Again, I do not know how long this would remain as free. Right now it is free. You can upload n number of how much ever data you want, you could upload to YouTube, and they're not going to restrict it. You put it up there and you unlist it. So only someone, or you can make it private, only the people who are either subscribed to your channel or you send the link to would have access to it, again, depending on either unlisting or making it private. So as I said, mother of all inventions are necessity. You need to keep your data somewhere, keep it on YouTube, make it private or unlist it so that your data is safe. You have space on your Google Drive.
Thank you so much for that wonderful response. I never thought in that way. Maybe this is the last question. This is from me. I have been also trying to do a lot of research and understanding how the institution, maybe Spicer University or the high school or any other institution around the world. And I do have observed other institutions, Indian and international, who is using digital commons. Now, digital commons is again a platform. It's like a clouding system where you upload all n number of your thesis, your dissertations, all datas, in fact, your journals. They facilitate in so many ways. There are a lot of assistance that is given in digital comms. However, it is very expensive. It is costing around 13 lakh a year. But then what is your view about, like, we cannot always look for an easy way out, because now we are expanding as an institution, and we need to take up some professional assistance also, like any other university around the world. So what is your view about digital commons? Do you think that there'll be one day that we may need to move to digital commons because of the n number of thesis, dissertations and writings that are coming up in? For example, we are also having our journal coming up, and we don't want to push it onto the website because it needs to be professionally at one corner where it is monitored, it is used for references, citation, and all that thing that helps both the readers and the authors. So what is your view about digital commons? And that's the last question I have for you.
Okay, when we get sick, we always go to a doctor, unless we know the remedy ourselves. Okay, So when we have cough and cold, yes, we try to go to a dispensary, we get them, medicine that is there, and we take care of ourselves. But is that the ultimate solution? No. Okay. When that sickness grows, I'm not saying research is a sickness, but I'm just trying to bring in professional help when we really need it. Okay. We may not need it right now, but that doesn't mean we will never need it. And therefore, if we look at even our servers today, we are hosting our own server on campus. Okay. Till recently, we were handicapped. Whenever power went off, we would get a backup of, I think, about 45 minutes. But recently, keeping the online admissions in mind, keeping the online examinations in mind, keeping the registration in mind, all of these things, the fee payment in mind, the admin was kind enough to get us a UPS that will last at least 4 to 5 hours. So even if we had major power cuts, we could deal with it. Okay. Now, if we want to expand, we need to get professional help, unless we are able to take care of it ourselves. So if it's going to cost us, say, 13 lakhs to set up, or get someone from outside to give us a facility that has been checked, that is professional, that is accessible to everyone, regardless of where they are, and if it adds value to the institution, then yes, that would be a way to go. But if we can begin somewhere by organizing all of these on our own servers to begin with, that could be an option that we could try. Again, I'm not a research expert right now, even though I'm in the process of completing my PhD, and therefore I wouldn't understand the nitty-gritty of the software that is needed, and so I may not be able to answer it with a definite answer here. And therefore, I would want to say that if we can do it in-house for the same experience, we should be able to do it in-house. But if it costs more to do it in-house, then I think it would be wiser to let the professionals do it on the cloud. You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you so much, Sir Prem, for your wonderful, excellent presentation, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Just to add to Digital Commons is not just to assist, but they also help in other things, such as, to enhance your API. You need all those points that you get in. They help in your, monitoring your, work and all that, citation. There are so many things that they do. So yeah, it's an area that we need to study and carefully work on. Thank you so much once again for your excellent presentation. I'm sure it was not enough. We need more of such presentation, because we are not tech savvy, and we need someone to assist us every now and then to understand the complexity of technology. So once again, thank you so much for what you have done for us. Yes, sir, you have something.
Before we end, I need to take another 5 or 10 minute session with only the faculty of the university.
Okay.
So once we end, can you request everyone to stay back? So, I have a small session for just them.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. If you have any question, you can always contact Mr. Prem, and you can always reach out to the Office of Research and Innovation. I have just shared a link to share in your experiences with the Office of Research and Innovation. Also, you can share your feedbacks if you have any. We would love to work on it and see if we can do something more better in the coming future. At this time, I would like to call Dr. Sanitha Fawa to offer the closing prayer. With that, I also would like to request the SAU faculties to stay back, and the rest of us can leave. Thank you so much. Dr. Sanitha.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, shall we pray? Most kind, loving Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your blessings and for this wonderful time we had together learning and sharing with one another. We praise you for this opportunity, Lord, and we continue to ask that you may lead each one of us, and may you continue to bless Sir Prem as he guides us in this process of learning as well. Thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers. Be with us throughout this day, for we ask all these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Sanita. For all those who are not from Spicer Adventist University, thank you so much for joining us. Please do join us next time. We have more of such webinars coming in. Our next webinar is with Dr. Andrew Tompkins. He'll be discussing on research. Sir, you're muted, sir.
Just want to remind you about the webinar on March 17th by Dr. Sheila Chako.
Sir, thank you, sir. I was about to say that. Thank you so much, sir, for reminding it. March 17 is when Dr. Sheila and I will be working together on research methodology, and of course, we'll be looking into Turabian and APA citation style. So do join us all, both Spicer School and Spicer University. Both of you can join us. Thank you so much for being with us. And now, Mr. Prem, you can take over. You're muted, sir.
Okay, I'm going to take about 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. If you have questions, it'll be 10 minutes. If not, I think within 5 minutes, I should be able to finish. And this is basically for all faculty members. Okay, if you notice, last semester, every day or every 2 days, we would send you a list of registered students via email from my office to the associate registrar's office, from there to the dean, from the dean to the teacher. And so that process was about, a day's work, or maybe it would go into the second day by the time the teachers get the information. And it was no one's mistake that the information would be late. It's just that the information would go slow because on the availability of time between classes for all of us to be able to do what we needed to do. So this semester, we have worked with the developer to make sure that teachers get first-hand information. Again, I'm not saying this is going to work 100%. If there are going to be flaws, please let us know. We want to make sure that we correct it, because our software is development in progress. We are making progress towards that development. Okay, and so all we have to do is go to our SAU website, www.sau.edu.in. Please remember this website. Okay, all of you need to have this. Our students are already memorized it. We need to memorize this too. If you notice here, you'll see employee portal. Our students get into the login via the student portal. We will get into the login page via the employee portal. Once we are on the employee portal, tomorrow you'll have to get to Mr. Reginald's office, and Mrs. Vigila will be able to give in your username and passwords to you. Okay, I will take up one example here. I think Mr. Augustine's login is what I will use here, because I've tried his login and I've seen something that I want to talk about. Okay. Okay, once you log into the system, you will see subjects that you're going to be teaching. All the subjects that you're going to be teaching, you will be, the confusion could be, why do I have health psychology, health psychology, a multiple number of health psychologies here. for this particular user, okay, for Mr. Augustine? Well, here, if you look at health psychology, this is for economics, English, geography, history, psychology. Okay, there are multiple departments that have registered for this course. Students from multiple departments have registered for this course. And so if you want to see who are the students who have registered here, you will go and view the students. And so in this department, you have one student here. If I go back to my subjects, okay, so in economics, there's one student. If I go to English, we have 4 students that have registered for this course, and so forth. Okay, we'll be able to see, sorry, this is, yeah, geography. We have got 3 students there, and so forth. Okay, so you have, if you look at this information, again, you have the student ID, you have the student name, you have the email address. All you have to do is go here, copy this email address from here and paste it into your Google Classroom and invite the student to your Google Classroom. This is available 24/7. As I mentioned earlier, our admin has been gracious enough to go in and set up the UPS. The accounts department has taken care of that. Thank you, Mr. MD John Moses and Mr. Robbie Abraham. They have been so good to the IT department by taking care of this need, so that we don't need to worry about power cuts, and you can actually start adding names of these students at any given time to your Google Classroom account. And if you still need to call the student, this is the phone number that the student has registered with us. This number could be a parent's number, this could be a friend's number, this could be their own number. Or there could be times when this could be a number that they have used back home, but they have got a new number when they have come here. And so this number may not work. Okay. So when you get in touch with your students, if they do not have the relevant information that is correct, they can actually get back to the Associate Registrar's office and make relevant changes or updates to that information. For example, if they update this phone number in the Associate Registrar's office, it will be updated here also. If anyone has a question, please do not hesitate to ask me. I would be very happy to answer you on the works of this. You could access this on your mobile phone also. You'll have to just maybe access it as a desktop version, and you'll be able to access it from your mobile phone. If you do not want to ask me a question here, you can meet me anytime during working hours or even after working hours on campus and let me know. I could answer you relating to this one.
Sir Prem?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Now you said we are supposed to get our user ID, right?
Yes.
So every employer is going to have their personal, or you are going to give, they are going to give it as a department ID?
No,
what
no,
is it?
It is going to be, every teacher is going to get one ID. So every teacher will get to see their list of subjects. So if you are teaching 6 subjects, you will get to see a list of all those 6 subjects.
Okay.
And when you click on view student here, you will get to see the students who have registered for that subject.
Okay, okay.
Because
thank you so much.
There was a little confusion last semester with the optional subjects, especially.
Yeah,
Where the student has registered, but then there are departments that wouldn't know that so-and-so student from a different department is registered for an optional subject from my department.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
And we had taken time to get those students on board. Some couldn't get in, you know, and there was an incident where the student somehow convinced the teacher that the student had registered, wherein the student actually did not register. You know, students nowadays are smart. They know how to Photoshop information. They know how to, you know, psychologically influence us with their words and get into our classrooms. So that will actually, this would actually solve, this login would actually solve those kind of mishaps, wherein the teacher can now log in and see if the student has actually registered for the course. And I'm not saying this is 100% perfect. If the student says they have registered and they're adamant on it, please get back to me, and we'll do a background check, and we will check and see if maybe the student has actually registered, but the name is not here. Okay?
Mr. Prem.
Yes, Mr.
Thank you so much for this update, and I hope with this development, the year down students whose list used to appear in different batches would be solved with this.
Yeah, that is also going to be taken care of. I do not have a subject that I could say that I would be able to plug in, but maybe once you go through, you will be able to understand. And if there are problems, please let us know, because this is going to be, if this student is on the internal marks, the student name is supposed to be here.
And
so if say, for example, a 2018 student has dropped 1 year and he's supposed to be, or she's supposed to be in 6th semester right now, but then is dropped 1 year, so they are going to go into 4th semester. That means they have registered for their 4th semester right now. So they will be picked up to be put into the 4th semester, and in that 4th semester, the 4th semester course.
Okay. And last question, maybe, do you have any plan in the future to help the teachers to enter the internal marks in this portal in the future?
That will be answerable only from the examination department. I will not be able to answer anything relating to marks. Right.
Thank you. Mr. Prem, we have 2 questions. Number one is, can our login ID and password be sent to our email or WhatsApp number at least?
Right now, we do not want to do that, because we want everyone to go to Mrs. Vigila and collect it for 2 reasons. One is we want to make sure we give it. Okay. The second is we want to make sure that the person who is receiving it will be able to, get their queries answered there. Like, for example, there might be 1 or 2 teachers who may not have watched this session. They may not be with us right now on this session, but tomorrow they might want to get in, and they will not know where to go, what information to look for, and all of that. Okay, and so I think it would take about 5 minutes of your time to go to Miss Vigila's office. She's already cut down everyone's username and password on a piece of paper, so she will give it to everyone physically. And if you still want to know, okay, can I log in and test it? You can test it right there, so that can be removed. Because what's going to happen is 2 days later, we remember, oh, we have to log in. And that time we will forget where we have kept that paper, or, yes, that email will help us, but then we want it to be physical for this time. After this, if you still need it, we will be able to, you just need to send us an information that you need information on this. Maybe you have misplaced it. We will send it as a digital copy.
All right. Thank you, sir. I have a question here.
Yes.
Is there a possibility to integrate Google Classroom right here on this page, so that we'll be able to directly send or copy paste the students and add them or remove them depending on how it is? And there's one thing that I faced, it's a challenge that I face is, every time you receive the list, you have to actually read out and find if the person has already added or not. And that's a challenge, because knowing all 50 students at a time or 60 students at a time is a little difficult. So what if, for example, counseling and guidance, if the course is there, once we click on the view student section, and it shows us who are added and who are not, and those who are not added, if we can just click on add to Google Classroom, and it will direct us to the Google Classroom, our own Google Classroom. That will be really nice. What do you say?
As much as I would love for that to happen, I'm sorry, because Google API is not going to support this facility right now. We need to work on a workaround for that, and that is going to take a lot of time. which we do not have. We are going step by incorporating all of these changes into various departments. The easiest right now that we could do is this. But what we are trying to do is, when you log in and you view your students, we want to keep the latest registered students at the bottom. Okay, like for example, we have 3 of these students. So as of yesterday, you might have these first two students, and then the third student is going to be the third one as of today. If you look at this, your ID number is not the leading this thing. Neither is the name, the criteria for selection of segregation. Okay, the segregation that we have chosen is registration date, the day they have registered. So when you're adding a student, you can go by adding them from the bottom top. Okay, this is not a perfect solution. Okay, but I mean, I think it is a workaround right now that we could put in, where once you start adding from the bottom, Google Classroom is going to tell you that this ID is already there, and so you will hit a place where the rest on the top are already in place. So you will have to just take care of the recent ones.
Yeah, my concern was just because there are some who find it very difficult to take the list, every updated list, and find a student who is entered in the classroom or not. It's a little challenge for them. But anyways, thank you so much. I do not see any more question. Oh yes, there is one. Do we have time to do it? One more question, I guess. Dr. Abhijay is asking, when we record our lecture, most of the time students become the owner of the video, and then we have to contact them to guide them every now and then to making us teachers as an editor. Kindly guide on us. I think that.
Okay. This is a very, very valid question, actually, and I'm happy this question came up. Okay, I have a student in my house also, and this has happened with my wife also. She's become the owner of the video, but this happens mostly only because the student is there ahead of the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we are sending a link to the student, I think it would be better for us to send the link after we get into the classroom. So we create a link, we get in, we log in. Once we're inside the classroom, we can send the link. That way, it's a foolproof method wherein we are there first. Why? Every time a student logs in first, they become the owner. That goes to say that whoever logs in first becomes the owner. So if the teacher logs in first, the teacher becomes the owner.
Thank you so much, sir. That means we have to be on time.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. If not, then there's something by Dr. Coverson. Another solution is to keep announcing to this class not to log in before the teacher. Oh, well, I think, yeah.
That could work if the student knows that the teacher is not logged in. But then exactly, I'd say I have a 8:30 class. The student will be like, 8:30, I need to be in because I want to be on time. And so they cannot wait for the teacher to be, So instead of saying log in after the teacher, we could tell them log in 5 minutes into the class.
Right.
So if it's an 8:30 class, we can make our students understand that they can log in 5 minutes after that. So they can start logging in at 8:35 onward. So the teacher has that 5 minutes time for them to be able to log in.
To answer Dr. Abhijay, I may have a little suggestion there. He says, sir, but it's highly impossible at times when we have continuous lectures. Dr. Abhijay, thank you so much for working so hard, but I would really encourage you, if you take 5 minutes break, stretch up, get up from your seat. So try to wind up like at least 10 minutes before your class, so that you can take a break. You give students break so that both the parties don't get exhausted. So please take a break, and that will also give you time to log in the next time. Thank you, Mr. Prem, for your valuable inputs. Thank you so much for helping us out in this technical matters. If any question comes in, I will get back to you, or they can contact you directly. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Please join us on March 17. I will update the details in a short time. Also, we have another webinars coming in, so I will keep updating. So thank you so much for being part of us. Goodbye.